So, Emily from Yelp, round of applause.
Hi, you guys. Greg and Kevin put me right before lunch because they knew I was going to keep you with me until the food. So try to hang in there. I know you're getting a little tired, a little hungry, but I'm going to go over this mentality that we talk about at Yelp, which is a 5-star state of mind. And what I'm going to do today is unpack some resources and tools and talk a little specifically about Yelp listings and some of the features there. But a lot of the stuff that I'm going to educate you on can be used across many social platforms that your customers are engaging with you on. So just keep that in mind, and I'll try to mention that when I'm talking about specific items or tactics that you're going to use that maybe are applicable to those other sites. So this is me. I'm a manager of local business outreach at Yelp. I've been with the company since 2014. And in Chicago specifically, I work to host educational events and networking opportunities for business owners to leverage the free tools on Yelp to make the most of their listing. I upped the size of that email about 2 minutes ago before I hopped up here, so you could all jot that down. And I mean with sincerity, if you ever have a question about Yelp, email me, you guys. If I don't know the answer, I will get you the answer in one business day, I promise. Write it down, Emily RW at Yelp. I can answer any question you have or find the right person for you. So let's kick into this 5-star state of mind that I'm talking about. And what I wanted to do first was highlight a couple of business owners here in Chicago that I've met and actually connected with about their operation, what they're doing to grow their online reputation. So I'm not going to go into details about all these people, but the real difference between these folks and your average business owner who has a Yelp listing and maybe knows they have a Yelp page but doesn't do a lot with it is that these individuals are engaging with the platform and actually growing their reputation by utilizing the connections that they're receiving online. So a lot of business owners tell me that the reason that they don't want to engage with the World Wide Web of reviews that they're getting is because it's scary out there, right? People are complaining about you. They're saying things about your business that you don't feel are true or reflective of what you do. And what I want to tell you today is the only way for us to break through that and be effective is to embrace this online world and use it for the positive things that it can bring to your business. And these folks inspire me every day, and I'm going to use some tools and tactics that they've implemented in their businesses to give you guys guidance on how to achieve this 5-star state of mind. I don't want to put anyone on blast, but a couple of the people on this screen are in the room today. So if you see them around the conference, ask them a little bit about what they do differently on our site, and they can certainly talk about their firsthand experiences in addition to the tools I'm giving you. So every business wants to have a great reputation online, right? Every business 10 years ago wanted their customers to tell all of their friends, family, and coworkers about their business, right? The thing is, you guys can, you just have to be in the right mindset to make it happen. So whether right now you have 2 reviews, 5 stars, or you have 500 reviews, 3 stars, I guarantee that if you employ some of these tactics I'm gonna go through, you can improve and watch that star rating grow for you and grow to spread the word of mouth that's happening for your business. So before we do that, let's take off our business owner hats and put on our consumer hats. Because at the end of the day, you guys are all consumers, right? You all buy stuff. So 10 years ago, 15 years ago, what did you do when you were looking for a business? Maybe you opened the Yellow Pages. Maybe you saw them on TV ads, radio ads. My family lives in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I got a good laugh out of that. And there's this lawyer there. You guys might have heard of him in the Chicago area. He advertises that much, but he is on every radio channel, every billboard, every TV. He's a sponsor of the Milwaukee Bucks. He's everywhere, right? But at the end of the day, all of that promotion is just really giving him big brand recognition. So people know if they get injured 10 years from now, they're going to call him, right? It's a different industry than what you guys are in, right? You can't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have your business name on every billboard, on every banner. But back in the day, word of mouth was still the most powerful tactic that people were learning about your business, right? And in today's society, word of mouth is still in existence. Online reviews are word of mouth. When was the last time you guys used a review to make a decision? Anyone look at reviews in the past week for something? A lot of people, okay, me too. So what I want you guys to remember is that consumers are using online reviews to make informed decisions about everything these days, not just small business. Give you guys an example, I was buying some new running socks last week on Amazon. I lost about 20 minutes of my life reading reviews for socks, you guys. But it's the world we live in, right? This is the environment that we're all in. We have access to what other people think. We might as well read about it. And the important thing for you as a business owner is to remember that consumer trust is very strong when it comes to reviews. So 97% of consumers say that they read online reviews to determine what business they want to go to. 85% of them trust those reviews as much as a recommendation from a friend or family member. That's wild, you guys. That's crazy. That's like me saying that if my dad told me what accountant to go to next year to do my taxes, I would believe that just as much as looking online. So just remember that, okay? This word of mouth that's been so valuable to you for years is still happening. You just have the power now to amplify it. So I want you guys to ask yourself this question. You don't need to raise your hands, but just ask yourself, do you embrace customer feedback? And I want you to think about that for 1 second. And I'm not talking about that negative review you read at 10 o'clock before you went to bed and got your blood really boiled because you swear they were never a customer of yours. I'm talking about the person who maybe told one of your employees or yourself something went awry when they were in your store. How did you handle that in person, right? Did you embrace it? And if you heard someone talk about your business in person today, let's say you were downstairs in the merchandise mart grabbing a coffee somewhere else and you heard someone mention the name of your business, would your ears perk up? Would you go over there and introduce yourself as the owner? I bet you would, because you're all at least engaged enough to be in this room. And the important thing is these consumers of yours are talking about you, whether it's on a review, to their friend, to their colleague. The benefit of it being on a review site is you can see it and you can engage with it and use it to market and grow your business. Now, a lot of business owners tell me, but Emily, I really just don't want to talk to those haters. Everyone goes to review sites to complain, to whine. And I'm throwing this up here for you guys just to break that myth up, okay? It's just not true. Almost 80% of the reviews on Yelp are positive, and we have more 5-star reviews than 1, 2, and 3-star reviews combined. You just happen to read those negatives and feel them right here, right? And when you read the positives, you say, I know, I'm a good business, I'm 5 stars. But you guys, we gotta use those positives to grow our brand recognition and use those negatives to show who we are as customer service-based businesses. So let's talk about how to do that. First, for any of my readers out there, big recommendation here, Jay Baer, Hug Your Haters. A lot of the stuff I talk about today comes from some of his tactics and techniques, but his main thing that he says probably 20 times throughout this book is answer every complaint in every channel, every time. I'm gonna modify that a little bit for you guys when we talk about Yelp reviews specifically, but I think this is a really good place to start. Try to meet everyone who's talking about you where they're talking about you. And some of these other presenters have talked about that. It's really hard to zone in on where they're talking about you, but I'll show you how to do that as well. So word of mouth is free marketing. That's kind of the end ploy to get you guys to follow me along the tactics that I'm about to give you. Right now, you're all looking for creative ways to get your brand out there to more people who need your good or service, right? And you have these people sharing their positive experiences, so we're gonna use that as a marketing tactic, as well as those negative reviews. They are a marketing tactic for you as well. So you wanna actively listen, you wanna join the conversation and gain that consumer trust that's gonna set you apart from your competition. And the thing I'm gonna pause here and mention is Jay Baer talks a lot in his book about how consumers don't even expect responses anymore from businesses because they don't get them most of the time, right? They write something online and the mentality is to ignore it. So you guys all have the benefit of being some of the first, right? You can show that customer service is a priority to you and you're a better option than your competition by simply illustrating that where people are talking to you and reaching back out to them. You're also gonna need to set some goals for customer service excellence. So if we're talking about engaging with review sites, trying to get more reviews and utilizing those reviews to market our business, we better be operating full speed in our business, right? Because the best way to get someone to share their experience about your business is to give them an experience that is worth reviewing, right? So that would be my first goal. And the way to do that is find out where people are talking about you. So between social media sites, between discussion boards, online forums, where are people talking about you? Depending on the industry that you're in, might be a lot of different platforms, right? But a couple simple tools to start with. Google Alerts That'll be your first one. If you just set up a Google alert for the name of your business, you'll get an email every time you're mentioned somewhere, okay? But also, you wanna have some tools, some aggregates to gather some feedback across multiple platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I wrote down my favorite because I saw other people needing that. So mention.net is a great spot if you are a single location, or Hootsuite to aggregate all of that data. If you're a multi-location business, you might want to use Sprinkler. So new brand analytics will help a lot with multi-locations to aggregate data from all across the internet to see what your customers are saying about you. So you don't need to go look at every page every day. And then identify some trends and themes across your reviews that you're seeing. So when you're first starting to engage with your review sites, it might be the first time that you're actually reading reviews you got a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. So look and see in the positive things, what are people saying? Is it all about service? Is it about the ambiance of your business or the people that they're interacting with? Is it a negative trend that is identifying itself throughout? Do we have one problem that's been mentioned a few times? Maybe we need to operationally look at that on the back end. But then develop a strategy for how you're going to respond. So now we're going to talk about real tactics here to respond to reviews and actually grow the brand, okay? So we've been paying attention to what people are saying. We're kind of looking at how these customers feel about us, but now we're going to take all that content and make it grow our business. When it comes to positive reviews, we want to think about it a little differently, right? These are going to be more useful for us to spread the positivity, to actually share across other platforms ourselves as the business. Because you can stand somewhere and tell everyone who walks by, I have a massage business. If you need a massage, come on by, we're the best. But if you have your customers go out and telling people that they had a great experience, that's more valuable, right? So if you have these positive reviews online already, by engaging with them and sharing them across other platforms or channels where your customers are looking, that's someone else telling other consumers about you, right? It has a little bit more value than you telling about yourself. But when you're responding to them, if you have something to add that the reviewer wrote about, maybe they're highlighting a new service that you're trying out or a new item that you have for sale in your business, respond publicly and call that out, okay? So on Yelp specifically, all of the content on your listing is helping you be found in search. If a user is searching for fish tacos, they're gonna see business pages that have reviews and photo captions about fish tacos. And when someone mentions that in their review and you respond publicly, thank you so much for leaving a review. We're so glad you enjoyed the fish tacos. That's one more keyword that you are adding to your profile to show that that's something you offer and focus on. Does that make sense? Getting a couple nods here, that's good. If you have nothing to add, you guys, with a positive review, I really think that the direct message feature is easier and better because you guys can automate those responses, right? Thank you so much for the review. Maybe you're writing a sentence or two directly to what they said they loved, but at the end of the day, it's easier for you to copy and paste a template that says thank you for taking the time to review you. Greg mentioned earlier that you don't want to look canned on your listing, right? You don't want all your review responses to be the same. So use that direct message feature if you are copying and pasting, and use that public comment if you have the time to elaborate on the review. Does that make sense? Cool. So talking about amplifying the positivity here for a minute, on Yelp specifically, you have a feature where you can share your review to other platforms. So you can share it to Facebook, you can share it to Twitter, you can integrate it into your website. This example here is someone who integrated a live Yelp feed into their website. So you can just grab a little code on the back end of your Yelp page. We can show you how to do that at the table if you need help. And that way, people are seeing these reviews in another place that they're finding you. Maybe they found your website first. Maybe they're already a customer of yours and they follow you on Facebook, but they never even thought to leave a review and they love you. If you're sharing those positive reviews that you're getting over to your other channels, you're subtly letting your customers know this is a place you're paying attention to their feedback and you would love to hear from them. So instead of working so hard to ask for those reviews or trying to get your customers to leave reviews, and then getting frustrated with the process, let it happen for you. Take the great reviews that you have and share them across other platforms. Let's talk about critical reviews, because they do happen, right? What do we do when we get those critical reviews? How do we turn that around to help grow our business? In my opinion, there's 3 kinds of critical reviews: legitimate, inaccurate, or a rant or rave. And I want you guys to think about that when you get a negative review, right? Don't just react to the review, let's just bucket it into a category first. So if it's a legitimate review, we all make mistakes, we're humans, we probably have staff at our business, they can't be perfect all day, every day. That's the time when we respond publicly. Thank you so much for taking the time to review me. We do not want any of our customers to feel like we didn't prioritize them when they walked through the front door, or that the wait time was too long, or whatever their issue is, right? Give them 1 sentence of your personality in that response, acknowledging that they felt they didn't have the experience they expected, right? But then take that conversation offline. So I want to stop here and remind you guys, the public comment feature, in my opinion, is not to win that reviewer over. It's to show every potential customer who's looking at your Yelp page that you prioritize customer service, right? You're responding in a timely manner, you're addressing the problem. And let me tell you, this does 2 things for you guys. It helps provide buying confidence with consumers who look at your business page and are deciding whether or not to spend money with you. They see other positive reviews of yours, as well as when a negative item occurs, you're on it. You are there right away handling it. But also it prevents other people from going on your Yelp page and just blasting you, because they know you're gonna read it, they know you're gonna respond. So when you're engaging, you are showing that you wanna hear about that customer service and make it right. Does that make sense? You're joining them, okay. If it's inaccurate, you guys, really important for you to address whatever inaccuracy is happening in the review, in the public response that you give. So let's say they're identifying a certain feature of your business and they've just outlined it wrong. Maybe they said your happy hour was from 4 to 6 and it's from 4 to 7:30. It's a lame example, you guys, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's something very true false about your business that you need to address. Use that public comment feature to do that. But again, in this instance too, we're not getting into a dialogue with the reviewer. We're concluding those public comments with a method to talk to them further. So thank you so much for taking the time to review me, addressing the item that they had a negative feeling about. And then I sent you a direct message. I look forward to connecting with you further about how we can remedy the situation. You don't need to air the dirty laundry of the problem solving for every consumer to see. You can take that into your one-to-one channel with that reviewer. Last thing real quickly is a rant or a rave. Now I want you guys to know Yelpers and consumers are smart, okay? They know that there are negative Nancys in the world who just walk into a business and have decided it's 1 star before they've talked to anyone. So you don't need to worry about that, okay? If you have a ton of positive reviews on your page, or even 2, 3, those are consumer experiences that those users are reading. Now you have this rant or rave, right? And the user on Yelp can click on that reviewer and see. Maybe they're writing negative 1 stars for everyone. If you are seeing that in the reviewer who left you a negative review, you click on their name, you see that they're always writing 1 and 2s, do not waste your time, you guys. This is a negative Nancy, and they're standing out on their own already as someone who's kind of gone off the handle on your Yelp listing, okay? They've typed 10 sentences and they're just screaming on the computer. Send them a direct message. I'm so sorry that you didn't have a great experience. Please give me a call when you have a minute and we can rectify it. And that's where you leave it, okay? You do not run your brain cells over that for days and days. Get back to those great customers that love you and let yourself relax knowing that consumers are smart and they are reading that review the same way you are. This person's a Yahoo, a Looney Tune, okay? Last thing I'm gonna say about review response, take a minute and pause. If you feel the blood boiling, if it's too close to home, now is not the time to respond. Take the high road. This is a reflection of your business and how you handle customer service. So remain professional. Respond to them as if you are standing in the middle of your business with 10 other customers watching you. And then take comfort in knowing that you can't please 100% of the people 100% of the time, but you can respond in a timely manner and try to fix it and show that you care, and then it's time to move on to your next consumer and making them happy, okay? I'm gonna give you a quick example here, and this is really just to punch home my point that timeliness is important. So we have this review here from Rachel. Oh, you guys want to look at this one first. So we had a 3-star experience, okay? I won't go into all the details of the review, but essentially she loved the pizza, she hated the chicken strips, okay? The manager hops on there the next day and responds to her. Very nice. While I'm thrilled to know you love the pizza you got, I apologize that the chicken strips didn't follow suit. It's not like those to be anything but tender and juicy. Just know that we use the best ingredients possible and want nothing more than for you to be totally satisfied. Looking forward to showing you a full 5-star experience next time around. So they're not doing anything crazy. They're not offering a free meal or to comp a bill or anything wild like that. They're just reaching out, okay? And then you can see Rachel went back, you guys. She tried this place again. She updated her review to 5 stars, and she mentioned in here, A++ rating for customer service. After I left my initial review, George reached out and offered to make it right for me. We gave them another shot and we're very pleased. So my point here is we know on Yelp, if you respond within 24 hours, you have a 33% higher chance of that consumer updating their review. And think about that for 1 second. When you're mad, when you have a bad experience, how long do you think about it? Maybe a day. Then you've probably moved on to something else, right? So if I have a bad experience at your business and I leave, a lot of the times if I'm going to a site like this to write about it, it's because I felt like I couldn't get it addressed in the business, right? So take that minute to show your timeliness, show that you care about customer service, and change their perception when they are the most vulnerable to trust you. Does that make sense? They're giving you an opportunity here to meet them and make it right, okay? All right, one last thing here about natural flow of reviews. So inspiring great reviews organically is something that we talk about a lot at Yelp. And if you guys have been paying attention to your reviews, you probably know that we talk a lot about not soliciting reviews. And the one quick thing I want to say about that is Greg and a couple of the other speakers have talked about our review recommendation software and the algorithm that we have. I'll give you the quick spiel on it. When we first started back in 2004, it wasn't long before we saw our first obviously fake review. Business owner giving himself 5 stars. All right, not too bad, but it happens in other ways. Competitors giving their competitors 1 stars, people getting all their friends and family to write bad reviews for a place that they had a bad experience with. It's the wild, wild west out there, you guys. And what we tried to do is create an ecosystem where we're looking at a variety of things about the reviewer, how often they use our site, how many reviews they've written, what other actions they're taking on the page, to make sure that we recommend the most reliable and trustworthy content, okay? It's not always perfect. The software is definitely not perfect, but it is constantly running and changing to make sure that you and consumers are protected so that people aren't able to spend more money and make themselves a 5-star business, tear down their competitor by spending a little bit of time and creating a bunch of fake accounts and giving 1 stars. So I want you to know that the other thing that it looks at is if you are soliciting and asking your customers to write you a ton of reviews, right? If you're handing an iPad out in your business, how do you think that looks to the software? It looks like one person writing a bunch of reviews, right? So don't do that, but use some tactics that I'm gonna give you here to generate review content naturally. And this could be for any site you're on, not just Yelp. What you wanna do is create a strategy here to show your customers where you are paying attention. Put a link to your Yelp page on your website. Put a link to your Yelp page in your e-signature. Put a link to your Yelp page if you have any receipts that you're sending electronically to your customers. And that goes for everything else too, Google, Facebook, Instagram. You are touch pointing with these customers on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Let them know where you want to hear back from them. Last thing I'm going to mention briefly here about generating review content is for all you brick and mortar businesses, you can set up a check-in offer on Yelp for free. You can determine what the offer is, whatever works for your business. Be happy to strategize with you if you have questions. And when users are checking in at your business, Yelp is going to prompt them to leave their next review. So it does that legwork for you, okay? And also sharing those great reviews. I'm going to say it one last time. I know I told you a few times, but sharing those reviews you are so proud of in any way that you can, over to Facebook, printing them and hanging them in your business, blasting them out in a monthly newsletter. Thanks so much to Emily W. for writing our great 5-star review of the month. Get your customers knowing that you are paying attention. This is just a little quick fun facts about what not to do. I think you guys are all probably pretty in tune with this. Don't go write your competitors negative reviews. Don't offer people money to write you a positive review. These are all things that I'm just telling you are not going to give you fruitful results that you're looking for, okay? A 5-star state of mind is all about engaging with the platform, okay? Reading the feedback you're getting, taking it with a grain of salt from time to time, but identifying trends between experiences that your customers are having. And then let them know who you are. Join that conversation and engage them to show them that you care about the feedback and the experiences that they're having in your business. And I guarantee that you guys will start to see that growth and that trajectory. I'm going to open it up for questions now if anyone has them before lunch, but I will be more than happy to talk about one-to-one situations at our table as well if you guys have a little more personal item you want to address.
Round of applause for Emily. Good. Okay. Can you pass the mic down?
You talked about how Yelp can be your reviews fed on your other social media. Can you do the opposite? Can you bring from Facebook? Can you bring from Instagram to your Yelp page?
Good question. So you cannot, mainly because the user content on our site is a community, right? That's kind of how we have grown. And so if you tried to like copy and paste a review, it would look like you were writing that content for yourself. So I would just encourage you to include links to your Yelp profile or share them there. And those folks, I believe, the ones who are in their core review everything, will see that and then know that your other platforms you're paying attention to are important as well. Same thing for like your Google accounts, things like that. Some people might write it for all of them, but some people are Google reviewers, right? That's kind of their mentality. So I think by sharing the love across all of your platforms, you'll be able to see those individuals focus back where you want them to.
Other questions?
I have a quick question just about soliciting reviews. So everybody wants more reviews. So one of the top ways that I help our company do that is just by sending out an email after someone has ordered, after they've received their product. So just to say, hey, thanks so much. We really enjoyed working with you. If you had a great experience, would you mind leaving us a review on Facebook, Google, Yelp? Is that considered not okay?
It's a really good question. So it gets tricky with the wording. I would suggest you say, check us out on, and then your different locations, or share your experience on. And if you're listing multiple, I think you're in a little bit of a loophole there, right? So you're not telling individuals directly to go to a certain platform and review you, which is what you want to avoid. You're letting them know where you're paying attention to that feedback. So I would say rather than asking for them to write a review, I would use phrases like share your experience, check us out on.
But Emily, how is saying share your experience different from saying review us on Yelp?
Because, Greg, some of those platforms are not review based. So like on Facebook, they could upload an image of the product when they got it in the mail, right?
But from Yelp's point of view, though, for Yelp only, regarding Yelp only, not Facebook or Google, how is share your experience on Yelp different from write a review on Yelp?
I was just going to make a joke, but it's not on the screen anymore, that it's because it's the words that we use on our app. But I don't think that there is a difference, right? I just think you need to be more tactical about understanding that you're not creating consumer trust when you look like someone who has asked for all of your reviews, right? It then starts to kind of dilute your Yelp page as a whole, because it looks like you asked everyone to write those instead of creating an experience that someone wanted to write about. Does that make sense?
To me?
No, I mean, in general.
Yes.
You don't have to say yes, Greg.
Yes, it makes so much sense. Total sense. I'm now completely convinced. Okay, I'll come back to you since you've asked a bunch of questions already. So 1, 2. What?
You get it, right?
Oh, there's some, okay. Let me go to these people out here because they have not had a chance. All right, and then we'll do 4, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Expo Spotlight. Sorry, I didn't see you.
Do you need to have a Yelp account before you can make a review?
You do.
All right.
Okay, was there another question out here? Okay.
You had an interesting comment about when people leave reviews and the business owner comments about the fish tacos in the reply back. Does that is that helping your search within the Yelp platform, and does it also help your like SEO rating and ad search on Google?
I'm so glad you asked that question. So I'm just going to give you a quick content tip for Yelp. On Yelp, when someone searches, right, they're putting a keyword, a service, an item that they're looking for, and a location. And the site is basically perusing all the listings to see who's the best result, right? So content is king. Anywhere you can put keywords or phrases about the goods, services, things that your business offers will be beneficial to you. So in photo captions, yes, that will help you appear more in search. In the review responses that you give, but also the reviews that are written for you, right? And then I think the other important thing is when someone is searching on Google, let's say, for a plumber in Chicago, Yelp is going to be one of the first things that appears just because of the content on the site, right? So if you're providing yourself better searchable content on your Yelp listing, you're probably going to have your Yelp page show up higher on things like Google. It's not like we're indexing those keywords for you though, so I don't want to mislead you to believe that we're doing that. The site is just indexed by Google, if that makes sense.
But that's a very good point, because the Yelp profile for your business may show up higher than your own website. So you want to make sure that that profile is filled out completely.
Unless you are spending a ton of money, probably is showing up before
Okay, so
your
we had
website.
two here. Let's one, and then there was, and then the.
I can pass this.
All right.
I guess my question is somewhat related. If you have people who want to leave reviews privately, I'm a therapist, and so that my clients aren't going to want to say, hey, I'm in counseling per se. Is there a way where they can leave feedback without having to put their names and public information?
That's a really good question. So couple things. One, I think a lot of individuals who feel that way have created their Yelp account to be whatever first name, last initial that they're comfortable with. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Not everyone is putting the name that they maybe are registering in your business as when they're reviewing you. One other thing I want to say for any health and medical professionals in the room, just remember when you are responding to reviews about HIPAA and patient privacy, you gotta really keep those responses top level and not acknowledge that they are a customer of yours. Can definitely talk more tactics about that in person, but I would say in that case, I would just encourage them to create a profile that they feel comfortable with. Maybe their profile image is not a headshot like the first photo you saw of me in the slides, but you could coach them through that. And there is definitely some anonymity on the site in terms of how much they choose to share. They need to put a name, they need to have a photo, but they can be a little bit anonymous if they like.
So following up on that question, is there more strategy? I've filled out my Yelp profile, I have my page, I've uploaded pictures, all that stuff. I'm getting people that hit my Yelp page, I know they have, and they're calling me, which is great, but they're not really my customer.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to figure out how I can focus window and doors, but
Okay.
a higher level, and I don't want,
You mean you're more expensive?
yes. So I get a lot of calls where I get calls for repair and replace, things that we don't do, which is outlined in my website, but I'm not getting them to hit my website. So is there something I can do on my Yelp page to further that?
There's a new feature on Yelp, which you should swing by our table and set up with us. A lot of our professional and home and local service categories now have the ability for you to add what services you actually provide. So you can mark on there what you do and don't perform. Let's look at your page together, and we can certainly go in the back end and get that added. But for any of you, when you log into biz.yelp.com, go under business information, and just under the category section is where you can add your services depending on the category that you're in.
And you should consider changing your name to the very expensive window and door company. Okay, so right here, you had a question? It was the very expensive window and door company? It was like a profile optimization stuff? And I think you can do a version of that on Google as well. You should be as complete as you can with your information. So, is that all the questions? Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I neglected you. All right. Last one, and then they're always available at lunch. And before we get to lunch, we have 3 Expo Spotlights.
Hi, Emily, me again.
Hi.
Reviews ever become stale?
Good question. So do you mean?
From whose perspective?
That's a good.
Well, a reviewer has, the most recent review was 6 months ago. The oldest review was, I don't know, 2015. So that review that's 6 months ago, when it becomes 12 months, does that kind of disappear? Or?
I see what you're asking. Do we consider reviews to be less valuable over time? The answer is no. I know that can be very frustrating, but for some people, very awesome.
So you don't do, there's nothing that Yelp does to star ratings or review content over time. It doesn't degrade, they don't deprecate it, nothing.
The reviewer can always remove, upgrade, anything like that, but we do not stack rank or weight reviews differently over time.
I would say depending on the category, if your reviews get too old, consumers will notice. So if you're a restaurant and your most recent review was like a year ago or 2 years ago.
That'd be a little scary, I
Something is
think.
kind of weird. All right, so applause for Emily.